Today, we're talking about why you might be feeling a little off lately and the exact steps you can take to climb out of the rut.
Life is beautiful.
So I had a busy weekend this weekend. Another busy weekend, I should say. On Saturday, I had a wedding that is not the best type of wedding to go to. I knew absolutely nobody at this wedding. It was my
Nobody.
wife's friend from college, so it wasn't very fun or energizing for me. And then Sunday,
I hope they're not listening to this episode.
They're probably not listening to this, and yeah, you're right. I should probably be careful what I say. It was a lovely wedding. It was
quite lovely.
It was
Quite
a lovely
lovely.
wedding. I just didn't know anybody, so it's all about who you're with.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Sunday, then I had my mother-in-law's surprise retirement party, and I woke up early to help them set up the party. And so it was which was another lovely party.
Lovely
party.
Lovely part.
But still pretty draining because I didn't really get any time to myself that
No
weekend.
me time for Mike.
No me time. So I find myself on Sunday night feeling very exhausted. And this retirement party was Hawaiian themed. So everyone left with this Hawaiian themed sugar cookie. And being that me and my wife helped set up the party, we left with about 5 of these sugar cookies.
Nice.
Okay. So I'm feeling disgustingly full, like to the point where my stomach hurts. That's how full it feels, like a balloon that's about to burst.
Oh, man, that's a terrible
It's the worst feeling ever because I just let myself go. And I remember it's like 7:30 or 8 o'clock at night, and I'm sitting there staring at this cookie, and I have this weird experience where I'm noticing my mind know that it does not want this cookie, yet I am watching my hand pick up the cookie, unwrap it, and start eating it anyway, even though I am disgustingly full. And it was a very strange experience. And then I realized what was going on here. I was in what's called a dopamine hole. Do you know this? Have you heard about this?
I have, yes.
So what is a dopamine hole if you've heard of this?
First of all, I've definitely been in that exact same situation before where you're like, I don't even want this cookie right now, but I'm going to eat it anyway. I know that feeling. But a dopamine hole is basically when you've been just going from one pleasure to the next, to the next, to the next, where you just continue to chase that pleasure until you get to the bottom of the hole and you crash.
Yeah. So a dopamine hole is a mental state where you're chasing cheap pleasure without anything actually satisfying you, leaving your brain flat, foggy, and fried. So to help you picture what a dopamine hole actually looks like, imagine a line graph and imagine an x-axis going across this line graph. Now imagine when you have cheap dopamine like sugar or that cookie that I had, you can see like a camel's back spike, right? Goes straight up. And then when it comes back down, you don't just fall back to 0 to the x-axis, you fall below the x-axis into this hole. And now imagine an upside down camel hump, right? Can you picture that?
Yeah.
The camel hump going into the upside down camel hump.
Gotcha.
Okay? That upside down camel hump is the dopamine hole that you end up getting into. So, and whenever you chase that cheap dopamine pleasure, you end up getting the equal amount of pain on the other side of it, which we've talked about many times before. But the crazy part about it is when you're in that below baseline level, the thing that your brain wants to do more than anything is chase more cheap dopamine because it just wants to escape this pain as quickly and as easily as possible, which is why, flashback to that moment at 7:30 at night on a Sunday, even though I was disgustingly full and I didn't actually want this cookie, it was cheap dopamine and I was in this hole and I thought my brain in this really shitty, tired Sunday night state said, you know what, this cookie will help me to remove some of this pain right now, but it only dug me deeper into the hole.
The best analogy that I heard when it comes to this is it's like drinking salt water when you're thirsty. You think it's helping, but it's actually making the problem worse.
Exactly. So how do you climb out of a dopamine hole? And why are we making this episode? 2 very good questions. We are making this episode because a lot of times we tend to feel tired. We tend to feel like our life is feeling off lately, like we don't know what's wrong, but something is wrong. We just can't tell what it is. We just feel off. And I think 90% of the time we are in a dopamine hole. And I think the reason for that, to be completely honest, is how much scrolling we are doing. If you
Yeah.
look at our screen times, we are scrolling constantly, and that's one of the biggest dopamine hole drainers.
Yeah.
But to get to the meat of this episode, which is, okay, what do we actually do about this? If I'm in a dopamine hole, how do I actually climb out of it?
Yeah.
It's really 3 simple steps. Step 1 is you have to remove the source of that cheap dopamine.
Mhm.
So if it's sugary foods, stop eating the sugary foods. If it's scrolling, literally put the phone down, stop scrolling. You have to immediately remove the source of the cheap dopamine.
Yeah.
Step 2 is you need to actually move your body. You need to walk it out because your mind is so overly mentally stimulated that you need to, in order to get out of that mental overstimulation, actually move your body and stimulate your body instead. And then the third step is to achieve one small win. So you want to get your dopamine going in a direction based on something that is actually productive and not cheap dopamine.
Like doing one push-up.
One push-up, clean your room, I don't know, send an email that you've been needing to send, make the phone call to Verizon for your Wi-Fi. I don't know.
Throw out the garbage.
Throw out the garbage, but make sure it's a really, really small win so that you can start to pick up the momentum in the opposite direction. If you do that, if you remove the source, you walk it out, and honestly, if you don't want to walk it out, another thing that works for me really well is taking a shower, just anything that will change your physical stimulation.
Yeah.
And then one small win. And if you do that, you're going to start to climb out of that hole.
Yeah. It's crazy because we think that like we need rest, right? And we try to get that rest sometimes by scrolling and going on social media. And what we're not realizing though is that it's just more stimulation. And the more stimulation we get, the less satisfied we feel and the less rested we feel. So it's this
100%.
counterintuitive thing. And what you're saying is great advice for getting out of that stimulation cycle.
Yeah.
And actually resting so we feel recovered to make good decisions, like not eat that cookie at 7:30 at night.
Yeah, I think the biggest source of cheap dopamine is mindless scrolling, and it's something we're all guilty of. So the call to action for today is not to delete your social media or anything like that, because I know that I'm not going to get anyone to actually do that. And we run our whole business on social media, so that would be unwise of me to even tell you to do. But I want to call you to do something about it, which is to open up your phone and look at your screen time. Just take a look at the number there, because I did this for myself.
It's embarrassing.
And it was embarrassing and shocking. For me, it was 4 hours and 18 minutes a day. And when I did the math, that is roughly 65 full 24-hour days a year. So 2 months of my life, every single year, is being spent mindlessly scrolling. Can you fucking believe that?
It's a lot. But I want to end with one little caveat, which is we're not saying that any of these things are bad by themselves. Okay. So we're not just saying, oh, don't do any of these things. They become bad when they become the default instead of the exception.
What do you mean by that?
Meaning like you just default to checking your phone rather than, oh, I did everything I had to do today. I'm going to spend 20 minutes checking Instagram and catching up with my friends. Right. So it's not that these things we're saying is like, don't ever do them and get them out of your life. It's when you're defaulting to them and it's just like an unconscious behavior. That's when it's bad. So I think your advice is good, to check your phone to see how much are you defaulting to this bad shit in your life.
I love
and
that.
How can you make it the exception instead?
What a mint ending, Nicholas.
All right. Well, thanks for hanging out with us. We love you.
Peace.